let's start from the north. Komla Dum has been crisscrossing that part of town with Christopher Marquez and the rest of the teams giving support there. And we're talking water shortage. Take a look at this.
It's one of those days here at Datoyele. Residents are lucky the rains have come. As a result, they can rely on water collected in this dugout. The water, heavily contaminated and looking reddish-brown in color.
Okasha and his friends, just a few of the residents in Datoyele who come here. And this is their source of everything domestic, from drinking to washing to cooking. Since 2017, pipe-borne water has not flowed through the taps in this entire community. And so this is what they have to resort to.
Adiza Adam and other residents are frustrated. They say it gets worse in the dry season.
You can see how we are struggling this morning to fetch water to go and use. This is what we drink, and then you go to hospital, they complain our water is not good. But what can we do? Now pure water has increased to 50 pesos. How do I get 50 pesos to buy water and drink?
Al-Hassan Musa has lived here long enough to know how dire the situation is.
We
don't have even toilets in the community. We come here, we defecate, and then when it rains, everything washes down to the water that we drink. We have taps in the community. It has been 3 years now since we saw pipe water. So we are pleading to any well-to-do Ghanaian to help us get a potable drinking water.
As a result of a contaminated water source, hospital visits are frequent.
My child is unwell. Whenever we go to the hospital, the nurse tells us the problem is with our contaminated water.
At the hospital, admission beds are all occupied by the young and the old.
You realize that it's not only malaria. They have conditions like typhoid. They have conditions like defecating and bringing out worms. They have conditions like diarrhea and then vomiting. Mothers can lie in beds and call me to come and see what is happening because their kids have defecated and then they could see worms inside the defecation. It will be tapeworm and roundworm. When the water becomes like Milo, they put alum in it just to make the dead settle. Then they'll use the water that is clear. Meanwhile, it's already polluted.
Chief Executive Officer of FACO Medical Consult, Hajara Fatu Kadir, and her staff at the health facility get overwhelmed.
Our people here, they are really suffering. Non-governmental organizations should come in. The Datoyele dump, they can even connect pipelines to it and then treat the water very well.
That's Komla Dum stories from Datoyele. Komla is joining us now on Zoom. Komla, good morning. How did you feel knowing that fellow Ghanaians were drinking this to survive? Hello, Komla. Hello, Komla. You need to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Hello, Komla. Can you hear me? Well, we're trying
Can you hear me, Johnny?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I know you're far away. Network could be misbehaving. But I'm asking, how did you feel seeing fellow Ghanaians drinking such dirty water, contaminated water to survive?
Well, Johnny, initially, when we were told about that story, I did not think that in this day and age, you would have people still sharing drinking water with animals. So we got into the village, which, by the way, is just about 45 minutes away from the Tamale central business district itself. So just about 45 minutes. When you are using a tricycle, you get to the village and you find that this is not villages, which is very far from the community or far from the Tamale Central Business District. It is actually one of the suburbs of Tamale. So your initial shock will be, so this is Tamale. Why are there still people drinking from contaminated water sources in a dugout? So we got there and we find that this is what the people use. Actually, we're told that, as you heard there in the story, it's actually a better situation we went to meet. If we had gone there when the season was dry, you would have found out that even that dugout would have been completely dried out, and the residents would now have to commute to either Tamale itself or other adjoining communities to search for water. So it was quite disheartening, and as you'd find, this is the way of life for the people there.
Well, so now that we know, I know we'll be making efforts to try and get them some potable water, but what has been the attendant effects in terms of their health? What can you share?
So you'll find that at the hospitals, the beds are always inundated. People are always going to the hospital.
Unfortunately, we'll have to let Komla go. We'll connect with him some other time. Let's go to the Ashanti region, and Ibrahim Abubakar is standing by. But first, let's take a look at the story. It's also on water shortage.
With the incessant pollution of water bodies in the Ashanti region, a looming water crisis stares residents right in the face. Activities of illegal miners continue to contaminate major water resources. At Watreso, the Oda River has been heavily polluted by these miners. The river feeds the Odasu headworks of the Ghana Water Company Limited, which treats water and supply to the people of Obuasi. But the facility currently is able to serve residents only 50% of water required due to the pollution of the Oda River.
The volume of water that we're supposed to take from the treatment to supply to the people have drastically reduced. For example, if you take 100 liters of water, under normal circumstances, if you treat it, you should throw away 5%. But because of the high level of turbidity, in some of the cases, we throw up to 50%. And so instead of throwing 5% and having 95 liters to supply to the people, you are rather throwing 50 liters away. So the 45 liters, how are you going to account for it? That will continuously cause what you normally will call rationing, and we will call demand management. And so we cannot continue to treat this Galamsey as a joke.
The Ofen River has also not been spared by the illegal miners. The high level of contamination has made it impossible for residents of Bedabo and Abompe to use it for domestic or even farming activities. The region is losing several other water bodies through the same situation. The public is being entreated to team up and assist government put a stop to Galamsey to forestall an impending water crisis in the country. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3, Ashanti region.
Ibra, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Johnny.
I get a sense that when you spoke with Engineer Brima of the Ghana Water Company, you were as shocked as I am now, knowing the impact that illegal mining has on our water production and consumption. Yes?
Exactly, Johnny. Apart from even the burden of costs, because for instance, with the Konongo treatment plant, they told me they were using 7,000 of some of the chemicals to treat the water. Now, as we speak, they are using 80,000, that is from 7,000 to 80,000 to treat the same quantity of water. Yet, even using the 80,000 will get them only 50% of the water to distribute to their clients. So now when you move to places like Konongo, Obuasi, and East Enclave, you realize that water rationing is very common there. Why? Because the water that they need, they don't get, because at the end of the day, only 50% of the water will be able to supply to them. It's very worrying, the impact of Galamsey, you move to the water sources. And Johnny, it is an eyesore. In fact, when even we went to Abompe, Bedabo area, we realized there were chamfam machines there. It was, you look at the thing and you observe that people were even on it working before we got there. But they just had to dash into the bush. I'm sure even once we were there, they were somewhere watching us what we were doing. So it's very, very alarming. The rate of pollution of our water sources, its impact on all of us. And in recent times, not only these places that I mentioned, even in Kumasi, water is not that stable in most parts of Kumasi, but they are still paying huge sums of water bill. And that is the issue. You talk to water company and they will tell you they are also putting in more money to treat the water. So it's a very, very worrying development with regards to the impact of illegal mining in our water bodies.
I also remember how you spoke with that farmer who said, look, he will resort to illegal mining instead of cocoa farming because he has done cocoa farming for more than 20 years and there's nothing to show for it. But within a short time when he started illegal mining, he's got a lot to show for it. I know Cocoa Board has gone to engage him, but that tells the story of many other people trying to just survive. In the Ashanti region, do you see an end to this menace, given the fact that the jobs that the people are looking for are almost non-existent?
Well, Johnny, from where I sit, and for the past 2 weeks, been visiting some of the mining sites, I can say that the fight is far from over. In fact, personally, per what I've observed, I can even say we've not even started the fight at all because people are still destroying farmlands, water bodies with impunity. You go to a place, you realize that this is a fresh mining pit that has been dug and people are on it working. We are spending huge sums of money to end this menace, yet it seems it's even escalating. Now, Johnny, for the past 2 weeks, because government has renewed the fight against this illegal mining activity, military men storming mining sites, seizing excavators, arresting people. Now, the miners have also adopted a new strategy. Now, most of them no more work during day hours. So they work in the night from 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. By dawn, they are done, then they will move. So this is where the challenge is. Community members who even want to speak against it or even do whatever they can to clamp on it. They can't go there during the night to stop these illegal miners from engaging their activities. The risk is too high. Even the police are even scared to go there. How much more a community member who has nothing to protect himself? That is even how come an assistant headmaster at Mpatasie fell in a mining pit and died. He went there around 9 p.m. to supervise his boys to engage in this mining activity. So it is as if when government take these steps, then the miners will also re-strategize and take another step. So you realize that we are talking about it, we are spending resources to fight it, yet it is growing and growing and growing. So for me, we have been to the field. So anytime people sit in the office and say, we are chalking some success in the fight against illegal mining, I just laugh over it, and I tell myself, indeed, these people do not know exactly what is going on the field, or even they have been misinformed, because you go there and you see that things are quite different from what we are being told by the presidency or the authorities involved. In fact, last 2 weeks when I even went on a soup with the military personnel, some of them were down-spirited. In fact, you could realize they are just there because they've been assigned to do their job, but that confidence is not there. They tell me day in, day out, they will go for this soup, they will seize excavators. The following week, these same excavators will find their way back to the mining site. So they are just fighting it because they've been told to do it, but they don't see anything positive coming out of this. So this time around, that is what people are expecting. Enough of the talk. We've done series of meetings, consultations, and other things. This is the time we need to act. Especially, that is what people are suggesting. Look at the DCs, MMDCs. So if the presidency will bring something like a caveat that whoever sits on consent to allow such illegal activities to fester within his or his jurisdiction, then the person will be fired. I'm sure some of the MMDCs will start working because at the end of the day, they may also have to protect their work. So they will start working. We will be able to see faces behind it. Even though you go to places and you'll be told this concession belongs to this big man, the big politicians from DCs to members of parliament to ministers. We are told they are all involved. You know, even the cocoa farmer story that I did, in that full report, there was a man and a small-scale miner who was saying they try as much as possible to convince cocoa farmers to sell their cocoa for them. If the cocoa farmers are proving stubborn, then they would redirect the waterways to their farm and make sure that the cocoa farmers will come to them begging. You know, this man who spoke is the constituency chairman for Ahafuano Southwest, MPP constituency chairman. So if we have this caliber of people speaking on camera with that braveness, he tells me he knows a lot of members of parliament, ministers who are involved. So for him, he doesn't see an end to this illegal mining menace.
Ibrahim, I know that Eric is joining us shortly from the Western region, but let me put this to you. This morning, disturbing report is that some shops in Kumasi have been shut down because of the biting effect of the rising dollar. We do know that when people leave these Galamsey sites, they come to the Central Business District to find jobs, retail jobs, workers, shop attendants, and all of that. Now the shops are closing down because the dollar is biting. We're trying to fight Galamsey. They're being held in the balance. Where's the solution?
Exactly, Johnny. This fight against Galamsey, I always say we always talk about it, but we can only end it if we find jobs for people, because you move there and you see hundreds, thousands of people, young guys, energetic guys working. Some will tell you the risks are too much. If they could find jobs elsewhere, they may opt for that jobs. Now, like you said this morning, we are seeing shops closing down because of the high dollar rates, because of the huge taxes that they are complaining. So now people are working, but at the end of the day, they are running at losses. So for them, it's better to sit home with your money and even enjoy it on your own, because if you invest it in a business that you expect to earn some income and feed yourself and that of your family, and at the end of the day you are running losses, then it's better for them to close them down. So now the jobs at the Central Business District are also at risk. People are not getting even the jobs to do. So definitely the option will be to go into the Galamsey business. So that is why it will be difficult for us to fight or end this menace if we don't put in a lot of effort to create more jobs or even stabilize the existing ones, because we are talking about creating more jobs, yet the existing ones are even collapsing. So if someone will ask, are we going or we are coming? So that is the bigger question and worrying issue.
Thank you. Stay on for me, Ibrahim. Let's connect with Eric J in the Western region. Eric, thank you very much indeed for your time. Let's first take a look at your story, and then we'll come to you to hear your own thoughts about what you know, what you've been finding out.
Stretches several kilometers and snakes through more than 6 regions before it pours into the Atlantic Ocean. Thousands, if not millions of residents in communities the river meanders its way through depend heavily on this river. They use it to cook, they use it to farm, and in fact, it is the source of their well-being. To say that it is intrinsically linked to their life may sound like a broken record, but for the many residents, this river means everything to them. We are currently on the Ankobra River, and it is in a sorry state. Every inch of the river is covered with traces of heavy activities of illegal small-scale miners, otherwise known as Galamsey. To think that government has for years been spending millions of cedis to clamp down on the activities of illegal small-scale miners, particularly on water bodies, and to see the Ankobra in this state leaves much to be desired. 58-year-old Anthony Kwekudia knows the story of the Ankobra too well.
Because Ankobra no ono produce nam na odema apono ansa na yeso yenya bi nti am say say egu ha no ekoma na yelchi.
Well, this is what he thinks can be done to bring the Ankobra River back to its glory days.
Well, ya the papa no ye no na say na be ye no just na ye ankasa ahemfo na owo assassin wo on say no just ono odi kita ho no okutia ai ona wa yi guarantee.
Well, I miss the fresh fish from the Ankobra River and the light soup, which and the tutoring and all of those things that could be done from it. But Eric, you tell me, how hard is this biting the people? This is just one of many, but how hard is this biting the people in the Western region?
Thank you very much, Johnny. Good morning to you and good morning to the other colleagues on the other side. It is devastating, very, very devastating, considering the fact that you go to some of these areas, you go to the Ankobra area, you go to the Bonsa area, you go to Anankor, you go to the Pra area, and they will tell you stories of how the river meant everything to them. Like I explained in my report, it is the source of their livelihood. They use it for almost everything. So if it is no more there, you can imagine what will happen to their lives. So for here in Sekeni Takrade, the story of water shortage, a lot of us know it too well. We become very familiar with the fact that we have to deal with water rationing. And the signs were very clear. For some 6 years ago, we started having warnings from several experts about the fact that if care is not taken, we may be water stressed some years to come. And for the past 4 years and more, Sekeni Takrade and its environs have been experiencing water rationing. So, like I explained, for us, the story is too well known. If you come to Sekeni Takrade and its environs, we have 2 treatment plants. We have the Intraban treatment plant and the Daboase treatment plant. And we have the Bonsa treatment plant somewhere in Takwa. Now, for the Bonsa treatment plants, they tell me that initially they were using 1.5 bags of alum to treat the water. But as we speak now, they are using in excess of 10 bags of alum to be able to, as it were, treat the water for the households. And even that for residents in Takwa and its environs, they will tell you that when you allow the water to settle for a day or two, you see heavy sediment. That is the situation there. Now, if you come back to Sekeni Takrade, like I explained, we have Intraban and we have Daboase, and together, all these 2 treatment plants should be able to give us some 9.9 million gallons of water a day. Unfortunately, both are doing low below their capacity. Now, the challenge is actually at Daboase, Johnny, where we get more than 60% or so of our water needs, particularly in Sekeni Takrade. If you go to Daboase, the maximum operating level should be 4.9 meters. While if we are in crisis, it will be somewhere 1.0 meters. Now, somewhere in February this year, Johnny, the company was operating at 0.8 meters. Means we've gone way beyond the threshold. So at that operating level, the water ought to have been shut down, but for reasons best known to managers of these treatment plants, they decided to let the treatment plants run. Again, we are told that, you know, if you look at how the make of the treatment plants, the pumps and all that, they are supposed to run continuously 24 hours. But because of state of affairs on the water body, on PRA, now sometimes they do only 2 hours, just so they will be able to save the pumps. Because as the regional distribution manager told me last week, the pumps are designed not to treat sludge as in heavy sediment. They are not designed to treat that. So when we get heavy sludge coming into the pumps, it means that you have to stop operating, and that is the situation there. Now they were telling me that some 5 years ago they were using 6 bags of alum to treat the water, but now sometimes they do more than 20 bags of alum to be able to treat the water. That is the situation there. And again, the treatment plant was designed to take care of 500 NTU turbidity levels. By turbidity levels, I mean the level of pollutants in the river body that has led to this color of the water body. Now they had to deal with levels of 500. Now they are doing levels of 3,000. Sometimes they go beyond 3,000. So it is very difficult for them to work there. Obviously, they blame the situation on Galamsey, the fact that now because of the Galamsey on the water body, they had to spend more. They have to do a lot of the silting and all that, just so they will be able to get raw water through the treatment plant. That is the situation. If you go to the Ankobra, the river that I had the chance to be on, you know, it's like I explained, it runs through more than 6 assemblies. Unfortunately, the tail end is the Elembele district. Interestingly, they don't do Galamsey, but the activities of Galamsey upstream is what is affecting those downstream. Now, if you look even close at the estuary, you realize that the pollution is gradually going into the estuary. For anybody who will fly to Takoradi today or to Accra today, I will implore the person to take a look at the full length of the Pra River. The aerial shot will give you a better view of what we are dealing with currently in Sekeni, Takoradi, and beyond. So, Johnny, it's a very sad situation. So, for a number of residents here in Sekeni, Takoradi, and for the developing areas, what they are doing now is that they are sinking boreholes, mechanized boreholes. So, for a lot of the areas, they have boreholes just so they will be able to weather the storm when we indeed get to that point, John.
Of the second term of this government, Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah, Honorable Abu Jinapo, and Honorable Cecilia Benadapa, together with Kwabena Mensah Otridako, the regional minister, if you remember, went on a tour at all these places, river bodies, the intake points of the Ghana Water Company. And the understanding they gave us was that they were trying to get a sense of the pollution, turbidity, to come and implement a plan to fight Galamsey. Where are we now with that plan? Do you still hear the regional minister, for example, talking about that?
The last time that I joined a campaign against this menace was some 2 or 3 years ago. That was the last time that I had the chance to be on such trips. So for the past 3 years, I don't know of any operation geared towards that direction. You know, it's very interesting. Back then, we had DCs who were actually swimming dirty waters to go after these guys. Now, when you go to the site, they personally take charge of the burning of the excavators, the burning of the champagne machines. Now, all of a sudden, all these MMDCs have stopped. And they hardly even talk about the issue of Galamsey. You remember the two missing excavator saga?
Right.
It was the second excavator that was being led out of Elembele. That was what we got winds of. In fact, the first one had actually been transported out of Elembele. So the pretense, Johnny, is too much. And it will interest you to know that this excavator was found in Takwa in Shayim. So the excavator was able to move from Elembele, was able to move from Ahanta West, was able to move from Ezima East, part of Mpohot district, to Takwa. Now, on that stretch, for instance, if you go to Elembele, the divisional command, the whole structure sits very close to the main road. So it is going to be very hard for you to miss an imposing machine like the excavator passing through the frontage. Beyond that, there are about 3 or more major police checkpoints. Are we saying that we didn't see that excavator passing through all these checkpoints? And when it was caught, when it was found, it was actually mining at an illegal mining site. Now, since this two excavator issue started, the Western Region Police Command has confiscated more than 10 excavators. They've arrested more than 15 illegal small-scale miners, and there's not been a single statement about it. So we are in the dark. You go to the Regional Police Command, and you see these excavators parked there. No information whatsoever about them. If you are very clear in your mind that you want to fight against illegal small-scale mining, why are you keeping the press in the dark?
Okay.
Again, so that is the situation we've had to deal with. If we pretend that we are fighting illegal small-scale mining will also pretend that it is going away. The issue is that we are trying to solve a century-old problem in a day. We are trying to do everything all at once. If you are not very careful, the color of the Ankubra, the pra, should tell us that we are doing virtually nothing. Johnny.
Thank you, Eric. Stay on the line for me. Let's connect with the Eastern region. And before we come down to the Greater Accra region, Joseph Armstrong will join me in studio in a bit. But Yvonne Nikwe is in the Eastern region. Yvonne, good morning to you. And what can you share from the East?
River in the Eastern region, one of the most revered river for our region. It used to have the appellation Achimkwa Wonumbre Munsio, but today we cannot drink from the Brain River because mining activities across the stretch has polluted the river that has its main source from the Etiwa Range. Many used to drink this water because it was one of the cleanest rivers you could find. According to Professor Yanka in his social media posts, the Brim River is gone. Indeed, it's gone because it is not in its natural state. Mining activities has affected it. The chemicals used cannot make it drinkable again. It passes through quite a number of municipal and district assemblies that are enriched with diamond and gold. Already, people are reporting of kidney disease as a Central Regional Hospital, as Dr. Akoto Ampao has already disclosed to us.
Health, it is very clear to us exactly what the impact that we are seeing. We are seeing a lot of chronic kidney diseases in younger people. In the communities that these people are coming from, we are seeing quite a number of mercury poisoning, heavy metal infections within their system. And beyond that, even in the community, you have waterborne diseases beginning to increase. And we think that we need to stem this tide before it becomes worse than what it is. Even as it is now, it is worse. And some of us are saying that the lip services that we are all paying to this Galamsey issue must stop.
The Sustainable Development Goal 6.3 enjoins all government to ensure that by 2030 they improve water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping, and minimizing release of hazardous chemicals. With this situation, it's unclear if government is able to reach this target in the next 7 years. From Enyinem, Yvonne Nikwe for TV3.
And your name is in the Eastern region, and you know that's where the Deputy Finance Minister Abinah Sari and also the Roads Minister, and closer to the President's own one-time beloved constituency. There's a lot of illegal mining happening around there, and Joseph Armstrong is joining me. But first, Yvonne, good morning, and thank you very much for your time this morning. Hello, Yvonne. Well, let's try and reconnect with her later. Armstrong, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Johnny. I'm very good. Yourself?
Let's first take a look at your story, what you've been looking at, and then we'll come to the studio to have that conversation with you.
It's one of the water bodies that holds lots of water in the Greater Accra region. The lagoon is fed by waters which flow through the city of Accra from up the mountains of the eastern region. It is a major basin and carries a greater proportion of flood waters in the metropolis into the sea. The once vibrant, healthy aquatic ecosystem with mangroves is now almost a dead zone. Authorities in charge of the city are fully aware of the sorry state of the lagoon in the capital. Ghana is endowed with abundant water resources from which people derive their livelihood. In the process of utilizing these resources to meet socio-economic needs, reckless exploitation has given rise to a host of problems. Human settlement along the lagoon and streams has resulted in severe pollution. The Persian Lagoon in the Dadekotopon municipality provided employment for many in the past. Fishing was then lucrative, and fishermen supplied different kinds of fish all year round. But this is no more. The Persian Lagoon is almost dead aquatic life, filled with plastic waste and other debris. Despite serving as a Ramsar site and a rich natural resource, many now see it as a polluted, wasteful piece of land covered by water.
Okay, so that's Joseph Armstrong. He took a cursory look of all the lagoons we have in Accra. And you do know that once the rivers flow from atop, they come all the way down through these lagoons and the rivers, and they get into the Gulf of Guinea. And what we just showed you, tried to show you, right from the north all the way to the south, the challenge of our water bodies. They're drying up, they're shrinking, they're heavily silted, they're polluted. Aquatic life is absent in most of them. What it only means is that if we don't wake up, we don't stop the politicization, and you have even the president talking about breaking the AIDS while we're talking about fighting Galamsey, we will be importing water, and we may all die, irrespective of the fact that we have too much water. Armstrong, good morning.
Good morning.
This experience of taking a scan at the lagoons, tell us the fuller story in your own words.
It's just worrying and amazing how sometimes most of the leaders we have in this country would have to travel all the way to the western region, to the north and other part of the country, trying to protect the water bodies over there. But here in Accra, we have many of such water bodies as well, and it's like nobody's paying attention to these ones we have in Accra, because most of these water bodies I'm talking about are very close to the MMDs, the district assemblies we have in the capital city. For instance, like the Peshi Lagoon, for instance, is very close, some few meters away from the Ladadekotopon municipality. And I'm just waiting for the day.
Kole is close to the AMA.
The Kole is very close to the AMA, and also even the Kote Kole, and also that of the regional minister's office. And then we have the Gbebu Lagoon, also not too far from the Ablekuma West municipality.
Odo is close to the Kote Kole as well.
We have about four assemblies surrounding the Kote Klole. we travel all the way to the Western region, deep in the forest, to fight activities that distract the water bodies over there. But this one, we don't need to travel. We don't need to sit in a chopper or anything to go to protect the river bodies. We just have to sit here and instruct and prevent people from destroying these water bodies. But we are not doing it. At the Operation Lagoon, we have the military very close. We take the military all the way into the bushes, Operation Hot, Operation Vanguard, to stop the issues of Galamsey because it's destroying our water bodies. But the Operation Lagoon, where we have even the military station, has been encroached by activities of people who, for saying they need a place to sleep, so they can just build anywhere. And very soon, trust me, the regional minister has said it before, people living at Adwingano, East Legon, Ashaman, and all those, Trasako, very soon, the water will no more come down to the Peach Lagoon. It will now stay with them. And the flooding we saw at Weja some few days ago, that we thought was the worst, very soon, if care is not taken...
Is it the regional minister's job to be telling us of what dangers lie ahead instead of trying to fix the problem?
But it looks like that's what almost all our leaders are doing now. They are joining us to complain. We, the journalists that we are supposed to do the complaint for them to solve the problems, it looks like our leaders now are complaining more than we are complaining. Because when you go and ask them questions, they say, Charlie, can you off the camera for a moment? Charlie, it looks like the thing is getting serious. And I'm like, Honorable, with all due respect, you are telling me this. You are supposed to be finding solutions to solving some of this because you have the powers. You have the military, you have the police, you have the task force to go out there and ensure that these things do not happen in the first place. Because if you don't give permit for someone to build on the Peshi Lagoon, how do they build on the Peshi Lagoon? You have the power to demolish the buildings. But you sit down there, if you go to Peshi Lagoon right now, they are filling the place at a very fast rate.
Just like we did with the Kole, Sodom and Gomorrah, from sawdust from what you call it, the timber market. We filled it, we built upon it, and now we're feeling the effect.
And I wish you can get to the Gbebu site, for instance, where the river, the lagoon is there. Young men in that community have come together. Their reason is that they are trying to create a market square for them because there's no job in the area. So they want to come up with a market square, a lorry station, a supermarket so that they can get job. And I asked them a simple question. Wouldn't you rather love having a tourist destination where the river is there, tourists come in, and you can even fish in there? Fish get money. He said, no, what we want now is you want to create a lorry station. So they are dumping refuse. They've turned the place into a refuse dump, into a landfill site. And if you go there right now, it is so worrying. And I wish you can get to that part of the short video.
Towards the end. Danny, you would have to read that.
And let's listen to what the young man has been saying to me. He tells me, look, the river is our river. Right. The assembly doesn't have power over what we do here. We have decided to turn the lagoon into a lorry station because that is the fastest way of making money in this community. I went to the assembly, I spoke with MC, are you aware of what is happening at this place? He said, yes, I'm aware, but it takes time to pick some of these guys. And when you take them to court, it takes a lot of time to get them behind bars. And
are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So, the MC told you that?
The MC says that it takes some time because they've tried many times to get these guys, but it's difficult. Besides, because they have the chiefs supporting them. They have the chiefs who are supposed to be protecting their communities, supporting them to do that kind of act to the water body. And in that area, we have the Gbebu Lagoon, we have the Jatakpo River, right. We have other rivers there.
Connecting to Pambros. And if you get there now, Johnny, you've been there before, I've been there with you before, and the Gbebu area, last year, they did a massive demolition along that area. Right. Let's go there now and see how what's happening there? What's the latest?
Nothing has happened. And now the people, after the demolition, the youth have come together to turn the place into a refuge dump area.
Okay, let's listen to this young man who says he has a brilliant idea that will come to hurt all of us. He wants to enrich himself and his friends, but eventually he'll come to hurt us. Let's listen to him.
Turning a river into a refuge dump is quite a big crime. It's a big crime. Do you know that?
Yeah, we know that, but this is the only job that the youths can plan for. You can't go for any bad job or so just manage any baller small. Just chop baller and chop dollar. We are just trying to fill and get a market and car park for the community. Yeah.
But people are saying that you could have gotten more money from the river than the refuge you are referring to.
Yeah, but for now, I'm not sure if this river were to be how it was. No money can be obtained from this river.
You could have used it for tourist attraction. Fishermen can fish in it.
No, but now, as for now, this river is no up to where you can do that. That's up to where you can plant to that level.
So if rather government comes and government says that they want to dredge this place so that they can bring the river back, will you guys accept?
That will be a very big problem because now the boiler that has been dumped into this river is very much.
So what if government says it has the capacity to dredge the place to restore the river? Will you guys allow?
No, please. Nowadays it can't be possible.
Why can't it be possible?
The community is our community. It's the community itself that we build our mind that no, we need to do it. And the chiefs and everybody hands in it now.
But is the assembly supporting you?
No. But only the chiefs.
Why is the assembly not supporting you?
Because we went to them and they are talking about this. You are feeling the river. You are feeling the river.
George Cyril Bray.
The impunity, the audacity of breaking the law and feeling proud about it. That's where we are. And you can blame him, but also mirror officialdom who were put together in a room and told in their faces that they are part of the problem and that some of them are even part of Galamsey and destroying our water bodies. They are all at post sitting pretty. The month will end, they'll take their pay, they'll get their perquisites, their V8s, they'll get their fuel and everything else, and it's business as usual and come and say, we should all join hands and fight Galamsey. Who exactly are we fooling? When we return, my colleagues and I will wrap up. Ibrahim Abubakar is in the Ashanti region. Eric Yaweje is in the western region. Yvonne Nikwe is in the eastern region. Joseph Armstrong is here in the Greater Accra. Komla Adum is in the north. We'll come back after this break. I'm sure that they're having some back-channel conversation. Armstrong, so this is yet another story. And I'm interested in the portion of the video that we played, that you did, where the young man, so much impunity, he says we will not allow, even for the authorities and officialdom, to deal with the situation. That for me is scary.
So this is a point where if the authorities are listening to us, if they are watching us, they should be able to move in there now. I mean, so that you can walk the talk. The lip service, the authorities are becoming too much.
But it does appear that, and I've come to realize it, that when you speak in this country, the authorities are supposed to dealing with the situation tend to make you a victim rather.
I've suffered.
Tend to, not just you, even me. Yeah. I mean, you can tell. You raise a critical matter. They tend to shield those who are perpetrating whatever it is because of party affiliation, because it's a boy of a big boy. And then you rather, who raised the issue, I helped.
Exactly, that's what's happening now, because for now, when you go out there as a journalist, you need to be very careful what to report. But you can't continue being too careful, especially when the thing is a fact, where you've seen the thing with your own eyes, you've done your investigation, and you are very sure that this is what has happened. You can't come back to the office and because you don't want to lose friendship with this ministry A or ministry B. So because of that, when you come, you have to put the story in your pocket and you don't show the story. That's being wicked, and I'm being more worse than the leaders who are in there, some of the leaders who are in there and are refusing to do the job that have been given them to do, and at the end of the month they take their salary and they go home, and I know you see them going about talking about and we are fighting and we are doing this,
it's all fake,
and they are not doing that
it's
thing.
All fake.
And when you say it,
it's all fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Jody.
Well, so this is your story from the Northeast. Exactly how are the people coping when the source of water, they're trying to make economic ends meet, but the source of their water is also at a great risk. What I saw there, I for a second mistook it for the one warm chocolate cup that Nanado promised the school children. I thought it was that.
Yeah, so Johnny, the first issue is that unlike in the Ashanti region and other parts of the country that my colleagues have reported on, for here, it's not Galamsey, it is Sun Winning and other farming activities that is destroying the water bodies. So the tipper truck operators, they just win the sun without even thinking about the devastation effects of their activities to these water bodies. You go to Dalong, it is very, very serious, and Dalong supplies water to about 80-90% of the Tamale and other adjoining districts. So that is how serious it is. And if you go there, the color of the water, Johnny, is nothing to write home about. Ghana Water Company has complained that they lose a lot of money to treating this water before it gets to our homes for us to use for other purposes. So it is very, very serious. And 2 years, in 2018, the military, remember, went to Dalong to burn down some 14 tipper trucks and excavators, all because of these illegal distant winning issues that is destroying the water bodies. And that is not the only place. You go to areas like Bupe, Yapi, where the white and black voter is. You go there and you see that it is very, very serious. But now that we are in the rainy season, these tipper trucks are unable to get to the sites where they go to get this sand from. So for now, the effect is minimal because they are unable to get access to the place. But when it comes to the dry season, Johnny, I must say that it is always very serious because even now they have to fetch it from the site during the dry season and dump them in communities along the river banks so that during this period they'll be able to just go have easy access and convey them to sell in the Tamale enclave. So it is very, very serious, Johnny. Now, you know that over here, a lot of the people depend on these water bodies for their survival. Most of them do not even have taps running through their homes. What they do is that they just fetch the water direct to their homes and they drink. You remember the Datoyili story that Komla Abdum did?
Right.
This area is just some 30-35 drive from Datoyili to Tamale, but they don't have access to potable drinking water. So they drink from a dam, and some of them even go as far as Yape to fetch water to come and drink. And if the water bodies continue to be destroyed, then it means that it is going to have some health implications to these people living around these areas. You go to Dalong, for instance. Yes, Ghana Water Company draws its water from that area, but the people drink directly from the river. You go to Afayili like this, the people drink directly from the river. You go to Yapi, Bupe, they drink directly from the river. And if the river is destroyed, then it means that it is going to definitely affect them. So the situation is serious. 2018, the Northern Region Security Council, for instance, issued a communique banning all forms of sand winning in the area. But that has not changed the story. It is even now worse that they do it. So, Johnny, I must say that if we want to fight these issues and keep our water bodies as they're supposed to be, then it means that authorities must rise up, they must do the needful and ensure that they regulate some of these activities that we engage in to save these water bodies.
Right. So I come to you, Ibrahim, in our closing thoughts. We have a Ministry for Water, Resources and Sanitation. We have a Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources. We have a Ministry of the Interior. We have a Ministry of Local Government. And then we have a Ministry of Defense. We have a Ministry of National Security. And then we have a Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. We don't lack the men. We have them. Have they been up to the task from where you sit and from what you have seen?
Well, Johnny, looking at the way we are fighting this menace, I would say we have more work to do. On countless of times, we've gone to soup with the military, that's from the Defense Ministry, making their men available for the operation. From the Interior, the police too has been on the ground. Then from the Lands Ministry to the minister, in fact, last week or last 2 weeks, when the minister himself visited some of the mining sites, he expressed shock about the level of devastation, meaning, meaning the briefing that he has been receiving does not correspond with what he saw on the ground, because he was utterly shocked. So that is the issue. Now, the Ministry of Water Resources...
Abraham, sorry. You say the minister who is supposed to be on top of the issues was shocked at what he saw?
Exactly. When he got to Datano and he observed the level of devastation, he was shocked. And
clearly somebody has been lying to the minister. Or the minister has not been taking his briefing seriously.
Exactly. That's what we can deduce from reaction, because he didn't understand why we have the police commander, the representative of the president, who is the DCE for the area, and the Minerals Commission officials in the district. Yet, people are still destroying the environment with such impunity. So he was even calling them out that they have to be held responsible, because the president must be in Accra. He wouldn't be privy to all that is happening. You are his eyes and ears on the ground. So if you sit for this level of devastation to happen, then you have questions to answer. So that is how we can even deduce, at least from what we observe, that he has not been given the true state of what is happening on the ground. Now, the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation this week also has decided to embark on rigorous community engagement. In fact, we've not seen them engage in this fight since it started. By this time around, because of the pollution and contamination of water bodies, that is where their interest also is. So this week, they said they will send it across all the mining communities where we can find river bodies. They are rigorously engaging community members, chiefs, all stakeholders involved, so that they can be part of the fight. They shouldn't sit for people to come and destroy the water. Because after all, they use this same water body to water their farms. Some also drink it direct from the source, because they don't have borehole facilities or pipe-borne waters at their various homes. So that is what the ministry has started, and we are hoping to see something positive coming out of this.
Right. Eric, your closing thoughts. We don't lack the men, do we? But are the men living up to the occasion? Hello, Eric.
Not at all, Johnny. Not at all. If you ask me, I would... Hello, Johnny, I can hear you.
Right, go ahead. Eric, go ahead.
What I was saying, I'm saying that if you ask me, all these... If you ask me, all these ministries that you mentioned, there should be an overhaul of all the personnel there. Because like you say in your morning rant, show us your scorecard. And their scorecard will tell us that the rivers are still polluted. Their scorecard will tell us that we still have high levels of turbidity in our water bodies. Their scorecard will tell us that we seize excavators and they find their way back onto these same mining sites. We arrest people, and some way, somehow, they go back to the same thing that they were arrested for. So if you ask me, I think that the leading ministries have not shown enough commitment. So if you ask me, I will tell you that there should be an overhaul. Again, I think that the militarization of this whole exercise will not help at all. I mean, for how long haven't we used the military? What has been the result? I can bet you to my bottom dollar, Johnny, that this morning, even as we speak, people are still engaged in illegal small-scale mining somewhere that we are yet to discover. Every day there are reports that new areas are being discovered, new places on our water bodies are being discovered. So it's like you say, it's like a crime scene. So I think that there should be an overhaul. Then the militarization should stop, because the push and pull in this fight is not just taking military to, say, a Galamsey area and
Right.
think that you will be able to drive them away. The moment you leave, they go back, because, like I said, for some of these areas, it is the bulk. It is the bulwark of the economy. It is the mainstay of the economy. If Galamsey is not there, the economy of the community will crash. I also think that the MMDCs, where we have these illegal mining going on, their KPI should be the fight against illegal small-scale mining. 6 months, 1 year, if we don't see anything concrete being done in your district, you should be fired. That should be your KPI. Because if not, why?
But Eric, the thing that this whole fight against Galamsey started aggressively after the media started it. The government adopted the fight 2017. I remember very, very well. John Peter Mewu was the Minister for Lands at the time. We were part of the launch. And we had to wait for 9 long months in 2021 before we got MMDCs. Some retained, of course, from areas that have shown their scorecard and they are working, that Galamsey is surviving and thriving. Yet they were retained. We had to wait for 9 months for them to be retained. The president obviously does not agree with sacking people that, like you think.
Well, then we might as well as stop this fight against illegal small-scale mining. Because if we are going to throw our hands in the air that all is lost, then we might as well watch on for this thing to happen.
I hear you.
Because, we've had this warning for years. I remember WACAM, Wasa Association of Community Affected Mining, had a comprehensive report on this. That was some 10 years ago and gave us the warning. I remember Professor Thomas Akabza also did extensive work on the states of our mining and sounded the alarm bells way back. So it is not as if we don't know the answers. We know the answers, except that maybe, just maybe, we've not shown enough commitment. I spoke to the Vice Chancellor for UMAT last week. I engaged him, and you'll be shocked and amazed at the things that they can do to help win this fight against illegal small-scale mining. Why are we not using them? You remember some months back, there was this discussion where UMAT mentioned that they have the technology that they will be able to use to clean our water bodies. What has happened to that? What is the update? The Deputy Minister for Mines and Energy was all over the place inaugurating district committees on mining. What have they done so far? What is the audit? What is their scorecard showing?
Okay.
So we know the answers, except that maybe we don't act on the answers. And until we stop pretending that we are fighting illegal small-scale mining, 2-3 years to come, like the International Panel on Climate Change warned some 10 years ago, this is what we are going to be facing every day.
Thank you. Yvonne. Yvonne Ikwe. Hello, Yvonne. I'm not sure we have Yvonne there. Well, let me come to Armstrong. Chris will have the final word on this one. We have the men. Are the men working?
Obviously, the men, I can say for sure, if even they are working, it's not up to the tax they've been given to deliver, because obviously the evidence is there for us to see that the water bodies are dying at a fast rate. And if even they are working, probably they would have to change their gear. If they are in first, second, they probably have to get to the 4th gear. So I will see if we see any change. And for me, I think it's about time men of God in the country start talking, because it looks like the politicians listen to them more. For instance, I don't want to mention names, but imagine some key people in a religious setup speaking, telling government that government, if this thing is not right, you have to walk the talk. Right. Enough of the talk. Just imagine even a chief imam speaking, taking this issue at heart and speaking at it all the time, or someone like Dr. Mensah Otabil speaking at sermon, not just directing it to government, but to his members that if you see this thing, report it. Probably this thing will change if these men of God I'm referring to and our chief imams taking also very serious and not just the military.
Don't you think that most people are coiling into their shells these days because when you speak, you have some very, shall I call them attack dogs who come at you?
No, but you have
for
to.
speaking truth to power.
You would have to speak.
And for asking the questions.
You would have to speak because, for instance, I will go to Dr. Mensah Otabil again because if you don't talk now and the country gets to that point where we don't even have water to drink, your members that come to church pay their tithes, give their offering. I'm not saying him out.
There's Starkey Mills, there's Bishop Toto,
there's Duncan Williams, and all those. These are the big
most
men.
Reverend Charles Palmer Bako.
Yeah.
There's Professor Mate. All those people. They're there.
These are the big men I'm referring to.
Ajina Sari.
The time will come if we do not speak up now because we fear we'll be tagged as anti-government or we are speaking against the government. A time will come the church members will not have that time to even come and sit in your church chapel to do this. Because yesterday when I was at Weja Tetegu, most of the church members did not go to church. Do you know why? The church buildings themselves have been flooded.
Right.
People are busy cleaning their homes. When I ask them, why didn't you go to church today? Your pastors are waiting for you. Say, how do I go to church if my home have been destroyed? Even the church itself has been flooded. Where am I going to see to worship? So that's the point we've got it to now, so that if the leadership we have, as in the men of God, the chief imams and other big men in this country, that when they speak, government listen. If they don't speak because they don't want to be attacked, the time will come. They will lose even that power.
I hear you.
We have.
All right, you make your point. Yvonne, welcome back.
Hello, thank you.
So, Covadis, where do we go from here?
Jolly, I think that for all that my colleagues have said, critically what we need now is a political will from government and then strong institutions. If these two things work, we are good to go because we have the laws, we have the policies to ensure that we are protecting our water bodies and then our lands. Unfortunately, this is not happening.
Well,
so if these two things become efficient, we should have some results.
Yvonne, we get the impression from officialdom. How many Galamsey conferences have we not had? At what price? 5 million, I'm told, at the last count. How much trees have we not planted? At what cost? 12 million in the past. This year we spent another 6, 7 million added. How much advocacy have we not done in terms of even putting fuel in the choppers to go around the soldiers, police, immigration guys in the bush, and we're paying them, we're feeding them, we're clothing them and all of that. We're spending quite a chunk of our money, drone and everything else. Officialdom presents a situation to us to suggest that we have the men, we have strong institutions, and there is a political will. You say these are not present?
Donnie, unfortunately, these are not present because we're asking ourselves who owns the land, who owns the small-scale mining land, who owns the community mining. These are people with political faces. And so when it happens, the institutions are unable to arrest them or probably prosecute them. You've heard of so much more arrests being made. The question is, how did it end? Who called who? And so for me, it's about political will and then strong institutions. If these things don't happen, we must as well sleep and then give up on all of the things that are happening to us.
Okay, Yvonne. Chris, are you there? You have the final word on this one.
Yes, so, Johnny, I think Yvonne has basically said it all. The political will is not enough because you see the same politicians who come on TV, on radio, trying to create the impression that they are in the forefront fighting this Galamsey, this sun winning. Unfortunately, in the back door, they are the same people fronting it. So the rob Peter to pay Paul. That is how I will term it. So it's about time they are true to themselves and they serve us as a people as they are supposed to do. Because you can't be telling us on TV that you are fighting it, holding conferences, engaging people on the face of the pink sheet, but right behind you, you are the one fronting it. Because how many arrests having to be made in this country? Where has it ended? nothing. Nobody has been prosecuted to that effect. So it's about time we all think of the country, think about the future generation, and do the needful so that we can protect the environment, protect our water bodies, protect our lands, so that the coming generation will also come to meet something. If not, Johnny, in the next couple of years, we are all going to suffer the effects just as it has started now.
Thank you, Christopher Moako, Kamla Dum, Yvonne Nikwe, Eric Yahweh J, Ibrahim Abubakar, and Joseph Armstrong, co-dialogue here in Accra. Today we had to dedicate this day to talk about Galamsey, sand winning, our river bodies, our lagoons, our lakes, and we had to bring this actual picture, the true picture to you, for you to be the judges, for you to know that there's too much talk shop happening, there's too much sloganeering, there's too much pomp and pageantry, there's too much air-conditioned offices meetings happening, but the real work is on the ground. And we had to bring the people who have been going out there to share with you the actual story. So when they put a fine veneer on it, you know, they all lie be lie. And this is where, if you are a religious leader and you are quiet about these things and you refuse to speak about it, shame on you. If you are a politician and you are engaged in this and you know that you're making a fool of your own government and your own leadership and you're making them go round and round in circles, shame on you. If you're a politician and you have the wherewithal and the power to stop these activities and you are looking unconcerned because you get cuts of 5%, 10%, and you're even leading people to engage in it, shame on you. If you're a chief and you are complicit in this, you collude in it, and your future generations stand a risk because you can afford to buy bottles of water and sachet water, but your people cannot afford the water and they're getting liver, cancer, kidney diseases, and all manner of unexplained diseases, shame on you. If you are a security personnel, clothed by the state, giving ammunition by the state, giving food by the state, tent, transport, and fuel, and allowances to go into the bush to prevent this, and you have become part of the cartel, shame on you. If you are a farmer and you're giving off your farmlands and engaging in Galamsey and making sure that we all suffer in the end, shame on you. If you are a young person like that reckless young man who said we are blocking the rivers with silt and filth so that we can make a living, shame on you. If you are a civil society activist and you have refused to talk about these things but rather would want to talk about things that are not of essence, shame on you. If you're a media person and all you are interested in is what you can get so that you can be shut down, shame on you. Shame on you if you are part of this problem and you are pretending as if you are helping us to solve it, akin to the situation where you steal my money and then you join me trying to look for the money. Shame on you. Shame on you this morning, because God is the ultimate judge and is coming right at you. Shame on you.